Welcome back to the Wonder Tag podcast. This week, I'm joined by Benny Billinger, not Jackson Ford, as he's somewhere between LAIC and Buenos Aires. I'm sure we'll get him on the pod at some point to talk about his run. I believe he lost. Well, I don't believe he definitely lost his winning in to ASIM cut down in Buenos Aires. So that's a bit of a bummer. But we got Benny on here, hot off a decent run at the Las Vegas Regionals. I know. What actually was your final finish down in Las Vegas?
I got 34th. I bubbled top 32. It wasn't like wasn't that many people, but with my record and my resistance, I played against Tord. I played against two other people in ASIM. I feel like I maybe could have bubbled in, but I didn't. I ended up 64, but it is what it is. Still a good run nonetheless.
Yeah, do you want to give our viewers some context about who you are, how long you've played the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my name is Benny Billinger. I'm a second year master currently. I've been playing the game since 2016. Back then I was a junior. In the junior division, I had 10 regional wins, 2 international wins. Pretty good. I took a break during COVID. I came back. Won 3 regionals as a senior. Got second at an IC. Some other good placements, top 16 worlds and seniors. And then recently, my first year of masters, I got. I didn't make any cuts, unfortunately, but I was able to make a lot of
Yeah.
32s, 16s. I won 20,000 in earnings that season, and this year I got top 32 at Pittsburgh with Dragapult, and I guess now I got top 64 at Las Vegas with the Dengo deck. Dengo rocks.
Yeah, so definitely no slouch. You've definitely been around, and I don't think you mentioned you're also from the Toronto area. So
Yes, true.
Benny and I have been playing at events together for a long time. We even used to be sponsored by the same store back when we were kids, and I was a senior. And uh, yeah, definitely some nostalgia there.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, let's get into this Dango Rocks deck because I really wanted to see what I could learn from you about the deck. I think I've been underrating this deck, kind of thinking of it more one dimensionally than it really is. I think the Solrock um, adds a lot to the deck. Like I think originally I was like, oh, this Lunatone's really good. You get to draw cards. That's cool. But the Solrock is actually just an amazing attacker. Um, and we'll get into some of those dynamics. But do you want to talk about your list? The Premium Power Pro, the Picnic Basket, the Hops Cramorant, and anything else you think is interesting.
Yeah. So to start, picnic basket, it's you know, main uses for Dragapult if they go Phantom Dive, 200 on active Dengo, 6 on a bench Dengo, which is normally the line that they'll do. And then they just kind of catch the Dengo with 6, go Phantom Dive, take 4 prizes. The picnic basket actually negates that.
Mm-hmm.
And it forced them to do some really wonky lines. That and Turo really save the matchup. I guess the only thing that sucks about Picnic Basket is that off an Iona you kind of have to find double Superior and Picnic Basket in order to knock out the Polt and effectively use the Picnic Basket. But if you're able to do that, you should easily win. Um, and other than that, the Polenar matchup, even without the Picnic Basket, felt fine. You have
Mm-hmm.
Turos. You can gust around the Polt at some points. So it's a good card, but potentially cuttable in the future. We'll see. Premium Power Pro, really good card. And Mirror, and just a whole bunch of different matchups. Obviously, you give that Slow Rock that nice little 30 damage boost. With the Vitality Band, you can one shot opposing Soul Rocks, opposing Lunatones. You can even knock out opposing Hops Cramorants. Um,
Yep.
it's also really good to put damage on a Cornerstone. If they don't have Bravery Charm, you can swing with 100 with Soul Rock, and then finish it off with Hops Cramorant for
Mm-hmm.
120 if there are 4 or 3 prizes. Which leads into the Hops Cramorant. This card added it in Friday night in place of Mawile. We'll talk about the pros and cons of that later. But it's a really good card, especially for Mirror. It allows you to pretty much create a one prize board state the entire game. Um, and I mean, like your main attackers are just Solrock, Hops Cramorant on 4 and 3 prizes. And I'll talk about more how to use the one prize board state effectively.
Yeah. As far as that Pult matchup goes, I really resonated with the fact that I think that matchup became really good for Gholdengo with the rocks for several reasons. Um, One, you can pressure Badoo really easily with Solrock, and two, late game Ionos are just far less effective when you have an additional draw 3 cards. Um, you mentioned how you were playing Pult before this. Was this deck part of the reason why you stopped playing Dragapult?
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
Like
Me
this
too.
deck just draws so many cards. It's like almost impossible to like stick them with an Iono.
Hmm.
Like even like counter catch a Genesect, Jamming Tower, Ionos, they just don't work anymore. I mean, you have 2 Turos, 2 Artisans. So surely you'll find one of those to get the Genesect out of the active. And I mean, from there, like I said, you're just drawing so many cards.
Hmm.
It's really easy for like whatever they do just to completely backfire. And you're able to take like even more of a substantial lead. So yeah, I think this deck is definitely favored into Dragapult and definitely part of the reason why I don't play it anymore.
Yeah, the Guardy matchup felt manageable. Like it always felt very winnable, especially without Jelly, like as Dragapult. So that was always like one major reason that I was like, oh, should I really be playing Pult? And then this came along and gave me a second major reason, and I was like, all right, pack it up, new deck. But
Yeah.
yeah, those one prize dynamics with the Solrock and the Hops Cramorant, I think they're best explained in the Goldengo mirror, which I'm sure you know the dynamics even better than me. Do you want to talk about that mirror, how it works, um, how we're using these one prizers?
Yeah, for sure. So, first things to start, I get this asked this question a lot. You should always be going first in the mirror, believe it or not. I think it's just better to get that extra turn of using Lunar Cycle, and just to set up like the one prize board state that you want, which is ideally just Soul Rock and Lunatone, nothing else. If you start a gimme goal, then it is what it is. It's probably going to get bossed or knocked out at some point, but I guess it also kind of poses that threat of, if they bench 2 prizes, you can evolve into Dengo and then knock it out. But ideally, yeah, your board state just wants to be Soul Rock and Lunatone going first. Ideally, I mean, they're probably going to swing for 70. If they don't, then I mean,
Awesome.
you ideally have enough resources from the lunar cycle the turn before, and now this one to go either boss knockout gimme goal if they started one, or Arvin for like Power Pro and Vitality Band to knock out their Soul Rock, which then forces them to hit another Soul Rock. Let's say they swing it to you, then I mean you can just start just chipping away at their Soul Rock with yours. Swing for 70, whatnot, and then once they take another prize and once they're at 4, then you get the Hops Cramorant involved. And now this is really good for applying a lot of pressure. You knock out Soul Rocks, knock out Lunatones,
Hmm.
force them to find, either Super Rod or Lanas. And I mean, on top of that, it's just like a really good, it's just like another 110 HP guy that they can't one shot with Soul Rock.
Hmm.
So it really like swings the price rate in your favor, especially once they're down the Power Pro and the Vitality Band. There's really no good way for them to one shot it. So it'll probably stay alive for a while unless they start attacking with Dango. And then at that point, you have multiple gimme goals on the bench yourself, and then you just take the lead in the prize trade and then win from there.
Interesting. So, what do you do? Try put yourself in the shoes of someone who doesn't have a Hops Cramorant and is facing down the Hops Cramorant. They just probably have to evolve into Dango and kill it,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes.
Okay. So if they have to evolve into Dango to kill the Cram, are you trying to, because you need a Dango to respond to their Dango? So it feels like there's these dynamics of like you don't want to put down the Gimme Ghoul, but if they have the Gimme Ghoul, then you need the Gimme Ghoul, and probably two in case they kill your only Gimme Ghoul. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, with the Soul Rock, and since you're like drawing so many cards, it's pretty likely you're going to be able to gust one of the gimme goals. So
Mhm.
um, from the Hops Cramorant player's perspective, as soon as I see that Gimme Goal come down, ideally, I mean, if it's the same turn as the same turn that I attack with Cramorant, like let's say,
For prize.
or yeah, where I guess it's probably the same turn that I would take a knockout to go down to 4, which would probably be the best turn to do it. Then I'm thinking, the only way he's gonna knock out this Cramorant is with a Dango. So then I'm gonna have to bench some gimme goals of my own.
Mhm.
So I do that. I still have the one prize board state. I knock out with the Cramorant. I also go down to 4. So now this forces my opponent to either boss knockout with Solrock, which I mean they're
Mhm.
already down multiple. So if they're playing the Lanas, then I mean it's really unlikely for them to hit Lanas and Prime Catcher in the same turn. If they play Super Rod, they're gonna have to hit Super Rod and Boss as well as a way
Mhm.
to get the Solrock out. And I mean if they do that while still having the Gimme Goal on bench, then it just kind of goes into a state where I probably Turo up. Well, no, I probably just swing into the Soul Rock, knock it out. So then they only have one left,
And they need
for
another
sure.
one.
Yeah. So I mean, ideally, the situation is where like you just run them out of Soul Rocks. Especially if they don't run Cramorant. Like they can only attack with it 4 times. So eventually, they're forced to evolve into a Dango. And I mean, by the time we do that, I'll probably already be at 2 prizes. So let's say they evolve into Dango while we're both at 2. They take a knockout. And I just go evolve into Dango, win the game from that.
It definitely seems advantageous to not be the first one to put down Gholdengo.
Yes, for sure.
Are there any other matchups where we're using the Cramorant or these prize boards? Maybe even just at the start of the game, not so prolonged.
Yeah, I mean, these one prize board states, you'll actually find them a lot with this deck. Especially, I mean, at the start of the game, you don't like you're not really forced to evolve into Dangos on turn 2. If you can just take a knockout with Soul Rock and force them to just retaliate with another knockout, you're still going to win the prize trade. Especially if you're tied 5-5. Unless they also have like a one prize board state, which they probably won't. They'll probably have like a bunch of 2 prizes by this point.
Mhm.
Then yeah, you just go Dango 2-2-2. Win prize traits like that. Matchups where creating a one prize board state is relevant is Sarah Ledge.
Mhm.
Kind of like this matchup, you ideally want to take the first 3 prizes with a one prize board state. And then once they evolve into their own Sarah Ledge, take the knockout. You'll likely be the first one to take the knockout, which is really good. So let's say if you're tied on 3-3, then you go knockout the Sarah Ledge with Dengo, go down to 1,
Mhm.
which plays around Briar. So I mean, from there you just pretty much win the game.
And legacy
Um,
energy as well.
yeah, Legacy as well. Yeah, if they go Legacy onto the
Like the
Sarah
first
Ledge,
one.
yeah, you kind of have to play around that.
Hmm.
You can just like keep on like gusting with the one prize board state. Like I said, I mean, Hops Cramorant is really good in that matchup. You can knock out Soul Rocks, Lunatones, pretty much anything. So like they're never gonna really have a board full of 2 prizers or just things that like can't get knocked out. Pretty much because I think mid game is like really where that matters. Early game they'll probably just have like a bunch of Char Cadets.
Hmm.
So I think I'm pretty comfortable in that matchup. Just creating one prize board states, and then as well against like Guardy, Charizard, all these decks that have to evolve into 2 prizers in order for their deck to function. It's really good just starting off with like one prize board states and waiting for them to make that move.
Yeah, and I think what this is kind of reminding me. This is our second take, guys. By the way, some full disclosure, I messed up the audio, but in our first take, you were talking about that Zard game where you were playing a one prize board. You want to talk about that?
Yes. So there was a Charizard. Full disclaimer: I don't recommend any of you guys do this. Had a bench locked himself. With no Dusknor, no way to basically pick up anything. It was just like a bunch of Charmanders, bunch of Pidgeys. I think what was the other active? There might have been a Chi-Yu there, whatnot. So basically he just was bench locked. I wasn't really doing much, so I just like literally just went draw lunar cycle pass because I didn't really want to give him any opportunities to knock out like a Genesect, a Fez, Or if I take a knockout, he can go like max spell Gust Dengo knockout. So
Hmm.
I just really want to keep that one prize board state and wait for him to do the first action. So eventually, he evolved into Pidgeot, evolved into Charizard, took a knockout and whatnot. And then I went Dengo, bossed the Pidgeot, um, knockout, and then from there, I mean, my prize, I just go 2-2-2. I kind of force him to evolve into another Zard, if I remember correctly. Um, so yeah, so I mean, playing with this one prize board state, you can do a lot of things. You can force them to, be on the offensive. And with this deck, a lot of time, it's honestly fine to play defensive.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah.
I think that's really interesting to hear. I think because I look at this deck, I see, no Ionos, no counter catchers. It really is built to be offensive, but by creating those one prize boards, you get that extra level of depth where you can afford to, play it slow, wait for your opponent to do something. Um, I think fairly famously, we see Liam Halliburton on the stream with his Zoroark deck playing very passively, just like not attacking. Um, and that deck is obviously built very well to do that. So I think it's cool to see how um, even a deck that isn't built to do that can still, sometimes play for that strategy.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, do you have anything else to say about those kind of defensive strategies, those one prize boards? I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah, we covered it pretty well. I mean, since you played two Turos, there's even like situations late game where you can set up those one prize board states, especially if you're like kind of down on prizes. If you're at three prizes and they're at two, but they're obviously going to be attacking with a two prizer, you can go like Turo up your last two prizer, take a knockout with Solrock, go down to two. And then once your opponent takes a knockout, then ideally if you have like multiple gimme goals, just evolve them, hit all your cards, take the knockout. So yeah, so always like look for these
Mhm.
one prize board states, especially in games where it's looking hard for you to win. There are two prizes. Because by creating these one prize board states, you can easily swing the prize map in your favor.
Would you ever play even more of this one prize stuff, like more premium power pros or a third Soul Rock or anything like that?
I mean, I think the Hop Scrammer pretty much does that job.
Yeah.
Um, it's a really good card. It helps mid games a lot. It allows you because I feel like those cards are like one time use. This Cramorant it's basically a two-time use just paired with the Super Rod. Um, and I mean it allows you to have like six attackers basically, double Soul Rock, Hops Cramorant, Super Rod them back, and then you have six one prize attackers, which is really strong.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. All right. So then one other thing I wanted to ask about, we haven't talked about it, is the Absol matchup. You were saying earlier you played against three of these and you did not play the Mega Mawile. So how did those games go for you?
Yes. So round one, I was feeling confident, had a good deck. My opponent flips over Yveltal, Arvin's for Trolley. Trolley's a double cornerstone. Immediately I'm thinking, why didn't we play this Mega Mawile card? Um, so I lost that game. It was kind of close, which made me, realize that okay, maybe this matchup is kind of winnable. I was able to win game two. I think he overbenched some one prizers, so I was just able to gust knock at those with Dengo, and then Soul Rocks, Hops Cramorant, Super Rod that was able to get me there, knocking out cornerstones. And then game three, there was not that much time left, so I always knew that I had the tie in my back pocket, but obviously wanted to try and win. There was
Right.
a spot where I was very close to winning. He really couldn't find any energies. I just needed to buy one more turn. I swing and he top decks Arvin. So he Arvins for the energies. And then from there, it just ended up being a tie. I was able to, Turo enough times. Picnic Basket was able to heal. So
Hmm.
it kind of sucked, but I mean, at least a tie is better than a loss.
Yep.
Um, Second one I hit was Tord. Tord is really good at this deck, really good at this matchup. He went attach Turbo Energize, attach energy to active Cornerstone. Did that to the used Energize, powered up the bench Cornerstone, which is really good because it forces or it threatens like double Cornerstone with like an energy switch.
Hmm.
It also just accelerates as much energy as possible. So he's like able to kind of attack as quick as possible. He also has the option to penny deactive if I were to like swing with the Soul Rock.
Yeah.
So I just kind of got, you know, cooked in that matchup. I was 0-2, couldn't really do anything about it. And then the third one I played against, I also don't think he was the best at this matchup. He game one, I was able to win. He kind of like overbenched on one prizers. I was able to take some prizes just knocking out with Dengo by doing that. And kind of by doing this, it like forces him, uh, or it doesn't allow him to bench Monkey really,
Hmm.
or else I just go down to two, and then I mean, from there, all I need to do is just knock out one cornerstone. And with no real draw engine, it's like really hard for him to like actually, find all these pennies and ways to like heal damage or like buff damage or buff HP, I guess.
Yeah, the bravery
So I
charm.
was able to win that. Game two, I was really close to winning, but I think I'm with Super Rod off an Iono.
Mhm.
So I lost that one. It was kind of like a not great chance, but I had a few dangos in play, so there's a chance I hit it. Then game three was kind of like the same situation as my first match where I knew I had the tie in my back pocket, but I wanted to try and win. And for the first time, I saw a three prizer. He started Kangaskhan, and he was not able to find Penny, so
Sick.
I gusted that up, knocked that out, and then he benched some. I think he trolleyed for a Yveltal and a Monkey, so I took two more prizes on that, and this is probably like the best spot I could be in because I knew he could like never bench Monkey.
Mhm.
Um, so I literally just kept on swinging with Solrock. It was even at the point where there wasn't that much time left. I would just go draw 70 with Solrock.
Yeah.
And eventually, like his only way to win was penny looping. So eventually he ran out of pennies, and I was able to win. Hops Cramorant was really good in that matchup.
Mhm.
I think because he went down to four, so I just went like 120, eventually 120, 120, 120, and then yeah, his pennies couldn't really do much.
Yeah, the 120 does apply a lot of pressure to those
Yes.
cornerstones. They need a lot of pennies or monkeys. They need to get through those uh, 3 and 4 prize turns very quickly. If they're ever passing on those turns, I feel like you're finding a way to get there.
Yes, absolutely.
And that mentality of just like attack, 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 I think that's also really important and something people miss out on is when you're in those games or even when you're like starting a game two with like 15 minutes left, the only way you're going to win is by doing something like that. I actually watched back the stream yesterday, and Henry Chow played a game against Ryuki Okada. And yeah, have you seen this? Have you seen the game
I
already?
I I, I did watch the game. Yes.
Yeah, and so game one is like 35 minutes long. Henry loses. Game two, he plays lightning pace. He doesn't check his prizes. He doesn't do anything. Basically, all he does is frillish to slow Ryuki down so he can't play items to shuffle his deck. And then he gets a Guardy up, or maybe I think it's a Guardy, and he just starts like beat sticking with the Guardy, just like attack, attack, attack,
Yes.
attack, attack. And he does end up winning. Um, it's a good game for anyone who hasn't watched it, but I think especially in this format, for whatever reason, it's slow. A lot of stall type strategies, frillish item lock, Budu. Like game ones are lasting 35 minutes, so it's important to know how to play through those 15-minute game twos or game threes.
Yeah, absolutely. Pace of play is a huge thing, and there are like multiple times in the tournament where it's okay not to draw. Like just because you have like the bunch of coin bonuses in front of you doesn't mean you always have to use them, right? Like sometimes it's just advantageous to like leave good cards in your deck and just play with what you have already.
Yeah, especially like with Iono implications. If you need boss on the final turn and all your boss are sat in your deck already, you don't want to risk drawing into them and then having them go to the bottom. So uh, that definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the last matchup I wanted to talk about with you is the Gardevoir matchup, one that I'm pretty familiar with, of course. You want to speak to the regular Guardy matchup first, and then we can get into some of the Jellicent dynamics.
Yes. So I played against two regular guardies this tournament. I didn't really have a problem against any of them. So I think the problem with that matchup is you're so aggressive and you're so fast that they're in order for them to like actually win the prize race, they have to hit a bunch of stuff turn 2. They have to hit like rare candy Guardy, um, have a bunch of energies in the discard.
Charm.
Already have like an energy loaded up on Monkey in some cases if they
Mm,
want to swing with the Gardevoir. And since like it's really hard, like my deck just draws a bunch of cards, it's gonna be really hard for me to like ever miss an attack or like really miss what I want. So um the only way like I found that I was able to lose this matchup as Dengo was my opponent one round, he just like I lost a game. He just gave me like a bunch of prizes. He went Iono, counter catcher up Genesect, and he was able to put a lot of damage in play. I think I whiffed a turn somehow, which
mhm.
kind of sucked. But he was able to like scream tail a bunch of damage in play to where he could go double monkey, knock out a bunch of things, and then he was able to win like that.
Mm.
Um, just scream tailing, I think Fez or maybe even the active can't like fully remember. But other than that, I mean, the matchup like seems pretty favored. It's like really easy for you to KO a Guardy. You just go like boss. You only need is like 6 energies with a vitality band. And I mean, like early game on, like I said, you just set up like those one prize board states with Solrock. If you can like, Gust knock out a Guardy or not a Guardy, a Ralts while having a one prize board state, then it just kind of plays into that like, situation where you guys are both at 5. It's just like basically the same as like 6-6, but you have that advantage that you could take a one prize knockout.
Mhm.
Um, the only thing that like kind of scared me in that matchup was if they ran Turo, which I think the ones I played against didn't.
Mm.
If they run Turo, it can
They
there's
can
situations where it
Turo.
can get like a little scary, but like a lot of the time, they're also like forced to find the Turo in the perfect spot where they're normally like already using Secret Box turn 1. So
Mhm.
I mean, the matchup like felt like pretty comfortable, pretty good.
Yeah, because all they're really doing is standard prize trading strategies, which your deck is just kind of the king of doing. The one prize boards. Um, you trade two prizers really effectively with Dango. You mentioned like yeah they can trap things. They get like the trap the Genesect, scream tail the bench, or like trap it, hit it for 190 with Gardevoir, Iono to 1, Iono to 2. Those are really their best chances, I think. Um, Also having Prime Catcher is just insane now instead of
Yes,
ESP,
Prime
right?
Catcher is huge. Yes, I Prime Catcher is like the best ace spec for this deck. Unironically, I use it so much during the tournament. I know I was talking to Caleb Rogerson who played Unfair Stamp. He thought that was a really good card in the mirror. I know, right? Unfair Stamp. But I was talking to him after the tournament, and he said, "Yeah, the Prime Catcher is like definitely better than
Okay.
Stamp." Yeah,
That does seem cool. Like for Mirror, just like stamp and attack with a Dango. Maybe they probably just don't knock it out.
yeah,
Especially if they're playing. Imagine you're playing the one prize board and you just get stamped. Like,
yeah,
oh,
exactly. It is
okay,
kind of weird.
interesting. And then the jelly is basically a completely different game.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
I think most of the time, I don't think I ever played for a standard prize race. I think that's not true. I think there was one time I prized my TM Devo, and then I had to play for some kind of prize racing strategy where I was just attacking with jelly. Um, but for the most part, they're using Frillish a lot. They're spreading damage. They're trying to go for the TM Devo. How do you respond to that kind of strategy?
Yes. So I think the hardest thing is when they go like Frillish Charm. That like it's a really bad spot for us. Especially when they have what is it, double Monkey Bench. They can just like move all the damage I place with Solrock back. Um, I didn't actually get to play this matchup, unfortunately.
Mm.
I know that you played against a few Dangos. One of them being Gabe on my 60. I'll ask
You
you
let
how
me
you
go.
play it from the Guardy side after this. But I think for the Dango side, um, you just like you really want to like conserve your energies as much as possible, especially since you don't run Lanas. Um, and if they go into that like Frillish Charm spot, um, you just kind of want to like give them some prizes,
Mm.
so you can be able to use the Hops Cramorant paired with Vitality Band, and that's able to one shot a Jellicent
A
with
Frillish.
Charm.
Yeah.
And then if they do that again, I mean they're not going to be able to knock at the Cramorant, right? So this Cramorant is really good. to just kind of force the Frillishes kind of off a little bit.
Mhm.
And then you can also like go gust monkeys and whatnot. But I think gusting Gardevoir in this matchup is kind of scary just because you don't want to like get rid of all of your energies like that quickly. You just kind of
Mhm.
get Frillish trapped and then you end up losing the game. A lot of times I wasn't really actually that scared of Devo because I know I can just play my deck as like a one prize deck.
Mhm.
So that like didn't really scare me that much. But if it's a spot where I'm like relying on Dango to win the game and I can't actually, you know, close it out, then yeah, I'll get scared. But I know you came into a spot where I'm pretty sure you devoed, but you didn't play around that one prize board. So you want to talk about that?
Yes, yes. Okay. Um, so you nailed a lot of the strategy, right? They're going to be using the Frillish. Um, I'm never taking those early game prizes. I didn't really even realize Hops. Okay, well, I know what Hops Cramorant is, but I definitely didn't think that people would be playing it. I don't. Did people do this before? Like, was this something that was played in Europe? How did you guys even come up with this?
I'm pretty sure I don't know for sure. I'm pretty sure someone posted like a list online that Aaron House current. I think it
Mm,
also like was ran in Japan a little bit. Um I think we had hops in like the back pocket. I know Gabe was testing it at Gdansk, but he ended up playing the Mega Mawile instead.
mhm.
And then like, what we thought for this tournament, we originally thought, oh, no one's gonna play Cornerstone, right? Surely Hops Kramer is just like gotta be like really good. It's good in mirror. Obviously, that's not how it ended up working out, but it was really good in mirror.
Yeah.
And then it also like had the application into Jelly Guardy. So that's kind of how we thought about that. Um, so yeah, so what happened in
Yeah.
your game versus Gabe on my 60?
Yes. Okay. So I think the matchup's really good, but there are a lot of things that can go wrong as the Guardy player. There's probably like 7 or 8 cards I could prize that all really suck. Um, any amount of Frillish being prized is bad. Jellicent being prized is bad because you want to Devo with the Jellicent. Um, any amount of recovery cards being prized is bad because you need to bring back Frillish like 3, 4 times. Bravery Charm being prized is bad because you want to protect from Solrock Vitality Band on the Frillish. TM Devo being prized is also really bad, right? So I don't know. I think that was like 8 cards I just named. I prized, I think, a Frillish against Gabe. And so the problem was that I can't retreat between the Frillish, generate that damage with Monkey, and send it back. Um, and what it also means is when my Solrocks die, I can't, like, I don't have a second one to evolve into Jellicent and Devo with. So I was able to maneuver to a Devo play, but it couldn't be with the Jellicent. And so I think Gabe gets down to 2 prizes, and then I Devo him. I kill all of his Dangos. I think I Iono him, but I don't item lock. And then he gets out the Hops Cramorant, which I was not ready for. I actually think I Devoed with a 1 prizer. For whatever reason, I think I actually Devoed with the Monkey Dory, just fully not realizing Hops Cramorant was even really a card. I think in hindsight, I probably should just be Devoing with Gardevoir EX there. But then what happened is he took a prize with the Cramorant. He didn't bench any Gimme Ghouls, but he had Solrock Vitality on the bench. And so looking at this list, you can see Solrock Vitality Premium Power Pro. That kills a Monkey Dory. Again, I didn't think about the Premium Power Pro. I didn't really realize what was going on with the list. So I didn't kill the Solrock with the Vitality Band. I didn't have an Iono, so he's had like a million cards. And then whatever I did, he just responded with Solrock, Premium Power, killed Monkey. And I lost. We ended up tying the match after that. But I definitely let that one get away from me. Kind of underestimating the deck's ability to play without any Gholdengos, really.
Yeah, that's a huge strength that it has. And I mean, like you said, I know Guardy obviously notorious, well, not notorious, but it's a slower deck. Sometimes you can get those bad hands,
Mm-hmm.
and bad prizes as well. I'm pretty sure I saw on Twitter, I think it was Makani. I think he said he lost to Dengo in game 3 because he prized double sweater or double stretcher to recover Frillish.
Yep.
So yeah, it just like goes to show like how much like stuff can go wrong for Guardy in that matchup. I mean, it might seem favored on paper, but there's a lot of stuff like in game that you can't. That's like out of your control. So.
And your deck's very aggressive. I mean, that's something we were talking a lot about, the complicated parts of the decks, the 1 prize boards, but there's also the dynamic of just, evolve, do big damage, put a lot of pressure on your opponent to respond. Turn one, the Ralts is getting knocked out by Solrock. There were some games where I opened whatever I opened, Monkey Dory, Frillish, and I had Ralts. I'm like, do I even bench this Ralts? Like, they could just like kill it, prime catcher it, that'd be really bad. Like, yeah, I just bench the Ralts and hope it doesn't happen. But there definitely are some like, there's some fear. There's definitely some fear from those aggressive turn ones from Dengo. From the Jelly Guardy perspective, and probably from just about any deck.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that was pretty much everything I wanted to ask about on this Gholdengo deck. Do you have any final thoughts on the deck moving forward? Oh, Mega Mawile. Moving forwards, LAIC, would you consider the Mega Mawile? Are people now not going to play Cornerstone? How do you gauge that?
I mean, I think a lot of people, including myself, went into this event, not really respecting Cornerstone. It didn't really do well in any of the EU regs.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it made a huge resurgence here. Now, the question, like you said, is does Cornerstone have an impact at LAIC? I don't think it will have as big of an impact because people are going to respect it now. But with that being said, I don't think that'll stop many people from like actually playing the Cornerstone text. Just in case they hit that one-off person who's actually playing the Cornerstone Absol deck,
Mm-hmm.
which there'll definitely be a few. But it was like interesting because I know Ryuki. I'm pretty sure he played a no Cornerstone build to the Australian regionals a few weeks ago, and then he shows up to Vegas with the Cornerstone build. So that like really goes to show how good of a read they had on the meta, and how they knew that people weren't going to respect Cornerstone. And I mean, good on them. They read it perfectly. And Tord won. Ryuki got top 4.
Yeah,
A bunch
they
of other
did.
people did well with it. So yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to see if Cornerstone will show up at LAIC. I personally won't be there, but I wish you luck. You said you were going, right? Yeah,
I am going, yes.
yeah. Do you think you'll play Dengo Rocks, or do you think you don't know yet?
I mean, the thing is that Dingo Rocks is always like going to be in my back pocket from now on. I think this deck is like absurdly good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's really good into the meta. There's a lot of Dragapult, right? So it's really good into that. A lot of straight Guardy, really good into that.
Mm-hmm.
I know the top decks that did well this weekend, kind of scary for Dingo Rocks, Absol, Cornerstone, Jelly Guardy. So we'll have to see. I think with Absol doing well, that'll probably scare away some Jelly Guardy.
Yep.
So that probably brings the spot back into the meta for Dengo. I mean, it wasn't really like out of it, but as like one of the top decks, I think Dengo can now thrive if Jelly Guardy's gone. You just gotta play that Cornerstone tech now.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, thanks for coming on to the podcast, Benny. I think we'll wrap it up there. I know you got to get back to class here soon. Any shout outs you want to give? Any people you want to thank? The floor is yours.
Well, obviously shout out to my parents. I like to shout out Gabe for, suggesting this deck to me.
Mm-hmm.
He played it to Gdansk and he still had a lot of confidence. So kind of told me to try it out for this event. I did. It was really really good. Shout out to Getimer and Manly for also, testing and contributing a bit. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm kind of blanking on anyone else, but shout outs to them.
All right. Well, then we'll close it there, and we'll see you guys next week, where Jackson will be back, and we'll get to hear about his LAIC run and his Buenos Aires run, and that'll be cool. All right. Peace.
All right, see you guys.